And yet, in the other poll, on issues, Trump still winning. So this is your big opportunity, Democrats. He's down in the numbers, and you still can't score. When they ask who has a better plan, Republicans crushing it on crime, immigration, wars, the economy, even corruption. Democrats win by 2 points on respect for democracy. Now, some of this is just because people are stupid. 2 points on respect for democracy. Democrats win on health care, environment, women's rights, respect for democracy. But on those issues, I bet you that are the big ones that they vote on more: crime, immigration, wars, economy, corruption. So that's the takeaway there.
The only thing the Democratic Party stands for today is opposition to Donald Trump.
Yes, recently CNN carried out a poll and realized Trump is still winning in all the major issues. But Democrats can still understand that. I'm glad that B is calling that out. When I take a look at what is going on, something happened on The View. Alyssa put everyone in shock by saying something I didn't expect.
You know, Donald Trump being underwater, Democrats saying, oh, this guarantees us we're going to fly high in the midterms. Let me tell you, this guarantees you nothing, because at this particular point, the Democrats are the New Orleans Saints of political parties. What are we talking about? Trust the Dems or GOP more on the economy? Who leads on the economy? Republicans by 7. Immigration, Republicans by 13. How about crime, a big issue for Donald Trump and the Republicans? Look at that, lead by 22 points. So the bottom line is this: at this particular point, the ball may be on the ground, but the Democrats have not picked up the ball and running with it. If anything, at this particular point, it's the Republicans who are running with the ball on the top issues: the economy, immigration, and crime.
Give some context on this. Compare this when Republicans last took the House.
Yeah, let's compare it back to 2022. I think this kind of gives away the game right here. Okay, the GOP is more trusted than the Dems on the economy. It was 12 points in 2022. Slight decline in that lead, but still 7 points. How about immigration? It was Republicans by 3 back in 2022. Look at this. The Republican lead's actually gone up by 10 points. What are you doing, Democrats? My goodness gracious. And on crime, the Republicans were up by 13, and now they're up by 22. The lead again expanding by nearly double digits. So whatever Democrats are doing, it ain't working, Kate. It ain't working. Republicans have the lead on all 3 issues.
What's the reason that you are finding so far that's driving this?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's all about the center of the electorate, right? You win with independents, you win overall. And what do we see right here among independents? Republicans still have a point lead on the economy. They got a 10-point lead on immigration. They got a 21-point lead on crime. The bottom line is, when you look at these numbers, Democrats should call their offices, because at this particular point, even if Republicans, or even if the public doesn't like what Donald Trump is doing, they ain't necessarily liking what Democrats are doing. And it ain't just a referendum on one party. You actually have to go out and beat that party. At this particular point, Democrats are not able to beat Republicans. They still lead.
And again, this isn't as Donald Trump came into office. These are numbers from this month.
These are numbers from September of 2025, we still find that the Republicans leading on all 3 of these issues. And of course, this economy will be the key. If Democrats are going to win, they're going to have to likely win on the economy. At this particular point among independents, you see that 1-point lead for Republicans. And overall, at least according to the Washington Post, they hold a 7-point lead on the economy overall.
Yes, I'm actually impressed to see how these people are calling this out. You know, when Trump decided to send National Guard and these people to DC to fight crimes, Democrat oppose everything. We have seen that happening. California did the same thing. Gavin Newsom turned everything like Trump is now going against citizens. So you can understand, people see the truth, no matter how you struggle to twist it. This is the way Republicans are leading. Now going into immigration, Trump closed everywhere. The Biden administration was unable to do that. Trump came in and did the job for them. So when I see people still even struggling to doubt this, it's insane. This has been a major issue with Democrats, and they don't realize. Someone told me, if you see your opposition drowning, allow them to drown.
I'm going to say something that's going to make this table and this audience very upset, but I want to tell the unvarnished truth. I think if the election were reheld today, Donald Trump would win by the same, if not a bigger margin. I think we forget this country.
How do you say that?
Disagree with what Gavin Newsom said, that he doesn't think we're going to have elections in 2028. And I think I have a different thought on this poll. But listen, democracies are fragile. We all have to be invested in them. But I think they bend. I don't think it's going to break. I still think this is the best form of government in the history of mankind.
It certainly is.
Proud to live in a democratic republic. But what I will say is I think this is more a reaction to people feeling like the system doesn't work for them. Millennials were the first generation that was likely to not do better than their parents were. The fact that people are working harder than ever and not being able to get ahead, and they feel like the American dream is unattainable. They just feel like the system that Washington is giving us doesn't work.
You're talking about an economic part of it. We're not talking about democracy. It's completely different.
I think that people throw around the term democracy. I think Democrats totally overcalculated this last election. At the end of the day, if it's a Tuesday morning, you're deciding what bill you can afford to pay. You're not voting on democracy. You're voting on the cost of living. It's a nebulous term. It just doesn't mean enough to people. I think people are frustrated with the cost of living, and they're frustrated with the environment we live in.
I think it didn't mean enough to people because they had forgotten how bad Trump was. I think it meant a lot to people in 2020 when Joe Biden was first running, because we were just, surviving that first Trump term. I think if somebody was running now against Trump, when people have been painfully reminded of what an authoritarian he is, it would be very different. But I also think that the reason people don't feel democracy is working is because our system is supposed to work through a system of checks and balances. And today, unfortunately, there are no checks and balances. The Congress is a fickle organization of rubber stamping Republicans that do zero oversight over the abuses of the Trump administration. And the courts have no enforcement mechanism, so they can issue judicial orders, but they don't have the teeth to be able to enforce them.
The courts have intervened against Trump numerous times. I think the courts have largely held. Our founders intended for them to work slowly.
The court said not to deport Kilmore, Abrego, Garcia, and they did.
And he is back now, and that was the system working. But
months and months afterwards.
I'm going to say something that's going to make
frustrated.
This table and this audience very upset, but I want to tell the unvarnished truth. I think if the election were reheld today, Donald Trump would win by the same, if not a bigger margin. I think we forget this country.
How do you say that, though?
This country is so deeply polarized. If you hated him before, you hate him even more now. There are definitely people who are like, ooh, I'm having some buyer's remorse. But there's this poll today that shows that on the top issues people voted on, they still trust Republicans more. We are literally a 48-48 country, and then this little percentage in the middle that goes either way.
I would be curious who this poll, the age of the poll, because I think this probably gears younger in who is saying that, because anyone who has read their history books since the beginning of time, democracy may be fragile, it is the only way.
Sometimes I used to wonder how these people actually think. What Alyssa is saying here make a lot of sense. People don't go thinking about democracy every single time. Democrats use that throughout to campaign. Oh, Trump is a threat to democracy. Oh, he is a threat to Republicans. A threat to, this was a song every single time. Then they will go for that to quote January 6th, thinking that people will fall for this easily. They didn't even blink. They didn't even look at that. People are concerned about their lives, the economy. Who can make me to pass here without being afraid? Yeah, crime. Prices of things. This is what people are concerned about. Saying if elections are held today, Trump will still win. Democrat can't acknowledge that. It is high time they do that. They should acknowledge it and look for a way forward, to bring a solution to their mess up. Because every single time it's like they don't have any other thing to do is to go against anything Trump says. That is the problem Democrats have. Trump says this. In fact, they are opposition to everything surrounding Trump. They don't see anything good, which is a problem to them if they don't realize that very fast. No matter how you struggle to twist it, but people are saying it. Like, oh, what Trump is doing is cool. We are good with it. They won't even look at what you struggle to say going after that. Imagine if Trump is not in power today. or in politics, I really want to see what Democrat will be doing. Yeah, because everything that surrounds just Trump, MAGA, Trump, MAGA.
And it's slow. Listen, it's not happening at the moment.
Yeah. President Obama
is blatant censorship.
Because he says he has a team of fact checkers.
The FCC. I want them to stop fooling around with my right to say what I feel.
Americans, it's a part of who we are.
Because that is really something that didn't happen before.
Does anybody else watch The View? Because I think there's...
I'm going to say one.
Look, there are certain rules of free speech that we must all abide by. But in case anyone needs a refresher, we're going to go over the rules again.
He does not have a right to have a television show where he lies his ass off to the American people.
Well, there are repercussions to spreading lies.
Somebody to get up there, not
all the same people that are in these polite